There's 2 new kids movies coming out lately. I think one of them's already out, the Lego movie, and How to Train Your Dragon 3 is coming out Friday. So we wanted to do a top 10 favorite kids list video.
Specifically, animated children's movies. I feel like if we were to do a top 10 video over the best kids movies, that would just be ridiculous. Because we had 50 that we wanted to fit on this list of just animated.
And we had to like stop like putting more on the list because we were just like, this is too difficult.
And we're leaving out animated movies that are more geared towards adults, like Into the Spider-Verse, Mask of the Phantasm, Beavis and Butthead, things of that nature are going to be a different list entirely. And while last time we were here, we did rock, paper, scissors to decide who goes first, I've come up with the brilliant idea that we should fist fight this time to decide who goes first. Now we're going to do that off camera because I don't know if that's exactly legal, but yeah, that was a stupid idea. Alright, well Hannah's gonna go first.
Coming in at number 10 for my top 10 was The Prince of Egypt. This has been one of my all-time favorite films since I was a little kid. Almost all of these on this list are my favorite film. I wish they could all be at number 1, but they couldn't, so I can't even express what I like about this movie. I like the songs that are in it. I love the story to begin with. It's like a really good film for kids to learn about Moses and Ramses. Coming in at number 9 is the movie A Road to El Dorado. This also is one of my childhood favorite films that I've watched growing up. I really like Tulio and Diego and their journey on the road to El Dorado. They're going to find the city of lost gold. I think that's. They go to El Dorado to steal all this gold, and you just get to see their journey throughout the whole thing, and it's really cute. And at number 8 is Shrek. This has been one of my family's all-time favorite movies growing up. We bought the Christmas Shrek CD, and we would always listen to it during Christmas time, and it was just the Shrek cast and like donkeys singing all of the songs. It was really cool. We often quote Shrek in my house. And coming in at number 7 is Home on the Range. I really like this movie. It's super colorful, and it's I like the animation in it. It's very cartoony. I like all of their characters. Jennifer Tilly plays one of them. I can't remember the other ones' names, but their characters' names are Maggie and Mrs. Calloway. They all have really great personalities that feed off of each other, and their chemistry is really great throughout the film. It's a really good kids film, and I love it, and I'm almost 25. So at number 6 is a movie called Spirit. It's about horses. Growing up, I had these little model horses. They were little plastic horses that you could find in the kids aisle, and some of them were like felt covered, and they were also plastic. I'm sure a lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. But I had hundreds of them, and I would play with them all the time, and this movie inspired me to play with all those horses when I was younger, and it's still a really cute film to this day. Now Jarrod's gonna give us his 10 through 6.
So, being a little more indecisive than Hannah, I have 5 honorable mentions, starting with Aristocats, Mulan, Monsters Inc., How to Train Your Dragon, and Beauty and the Beast. I love all these movies. I couldn't make this list without mentioning them, but personally, there are 10 kids movies that I prefer to these 5, starting with Shrek. Shrek is among one of the first spoof movies I've ever seen. You could say that. It's technically a spoof of Disney and fairy tale stories, and the product is hilarious. The voicing of Mike Myers was perfect, and the voice of Eddie Murphy as Donkey is even more perfect. Shrek is honestly the movie I've probably seen the most times on this list. It's one of those movies that it never gets old, and now that I rewatch it through adult eyes, I pick up on a lot more of the adult jokes, and it just makes it even more of an enjoyable experience as an older person. At number 9 is an older cartoon, Lady and the Tramp. This is a more personal nostalgia pick for me, I think, just because I remember this being one of the first animated movies I ever watched. Like, it's one of the ones that I can actually not remember seeing it for the first time because I was so young. We are Siamese, if you please. Dum, dum, dum. Number 888 is Aladdin. Now, I mentioned Beauty and the Beast in my honorable mentions, but my true favorite princess movie is Aladdin. But neither Aladdin nor Jasmine is the reason that this is on my list. The reason this is on my list is Robin Williams as the genie. It's brilliant. I love it. It's my favorite Robin Williams. I've seen Robin Williams in a whole bunch of movies. I love all of his live action performances, especially in Dead Poets Society and Good Will Hunting. This one's by far my favorite. And I think what they're doing with Will Smith is a disgrace, and it should just be scrapped and forgotten about. The next one on my list is an absolute nostalgia piece, I think. I'm picking this one just because I personally love it. I think it's a blast to watch. Lilo and Stitch. I really like Lilo and Stitch. The movie is way better than the show. This is the first one's the best one. It doesn't get old. I can rewatch it so many times. And I'm a huge Elvis Presley fan, admittedly. So yeah, I really like the soundtrack to this movie too. What better movie to put at number 6 than Big Hero 6? This one is one of the more recent movies on this list. My favorite Disney revival era film, I think. This and Wreck-It Ralph are pretty neck and neck because I love Wreck-It Ralph just as much, but I think I'll go with Big Hero 6. I think I like it a little more than Wreck-It Ralph because it didn't feel like a kid's movie, but it was. You know, it felt like Disney was kind of going back to their old feels, like The Lion King, and taking their movies more serious, not assuming that all the children that watch the movies are idiots. Like, this one is a genuinely, really fun, hilarious film with Baymax, the cutest animated character I think I've ever seen on screen. Alright, and now Hannah's gonna come back to this seat for her 5 through 1.
Coming in at number 5 for me was the Toy Story trilogy. The first one touched my heart so much, and with the last one, I really thought that was going to be the ending of them, and then I found out that they're making a Toy Story 4, so I'm really intrigued on finding out what's going to happen. Because this felt like a perfect trilogy, and like, oh, the ending of the third one was just so like, gut-wrenching, and you're just like, all of the like 20-year-olds and 25-year-olds in the audience were probably crying, because we've grown up with this trilogy, so I'm very excited to see what the fourth one's gonna bring. The trailer is like nothing, like we don't get anything from it, so I'm very excited to see what happens. Alright, coming in at number 4 for me is The Lion King. I love this movie like all of the other ones. I feel like this is a really standalone film. All of the other ones are alright. They're just not adequate enough to me, but it really shows the true colors of Simba and Scar and how Simba goes through his life. I'm very interested to see how this new one that they're having come out, when they say it's live action. Alright, coming in at number 3. Now this is a very kiddish film. It's called The Rescuers. I haven't watched this movie in forever, but I remember growing up, I probably watched it every single day of my life. It is so charming. There's 2 little, I think they're mice in it, but they help this little girl through something. Just in case if you haven't seen that movie, I don't want to ruin it for you, but I feel like everybody should go watch this movie at least once. Super cute, it has a few songs in it that are very catchy, and I don't feel like people will be disappointed with this film at all. Number 2 was Aristocats. I love this movie because I love cats. Cats are my favorite animal. All through my life, I've had cats growing up more so than dogs, just because they were easier to take care of for us at the time. Just in general, like, this film was all about cats. Alright, coming in at number 1, this was like not hard for me at all to choose my favorite movie, but it is actually a series. It's called The Land Before Time. All of the 13, I think there's 13 films, there might be 14. But I, growing up, I had all of the films on VHS, and just, I know almost all the songs from all of these movies. I know all the characters' names. I know everything about every single film. You could come up to me and ask me about which one it is, and I can tell you almost detail down to a T. For sure, the Land Before Time series is by far my favorite out of everything. If I had to pick films to watch for the rest of my life, it would probably be those. Well, that was my 5 through 1, so Jarrod's gonna come back on with his 5 through 1.
Alright, we're coming into the top 5. You know, these movies hit me where I live. Coming in at number 5 is Inside Out. Perhaps the most recent movie on this entire list, I think. Only coming out like 3 or 4 years ago. This movie blew my mind in theaters. I hadn't had an experience like this in a really long time. This is probably my top 3 favorite of 2015, if not my favorite. I love this movie. I think it's easily one of Pixar's best. Probably it flies under a lot of people's radar, but this movie's really brilliant. It's really smart, and I think that it's great that it's a kid's film. I love that they're not underestimating the intelligence of children. This is just something that's unheard of. It's honestly one of the best kids movies ever, in my opinion. I absolutely adore Inside Out. Number 4, cheating a little bit, because I didn't want to have these 3 movies spread throughout the list, but I'm going to put the Toy Story trilogy, because I love all 3 of them almost equally. They're all great. But if I had to pick an order to put them in, I'd probably say my least favorite's Toy Story 3, then probably Toy Story 1, and I think my favorite's Toy Story 2. That's if I had to pick an order. In reality, they're all great. I love watching all of them. And the first Toy Story is actually the first computer animated movie ever. Alright, so here we are coming into my top 3. Go to the comment section and tell me your top 3 or your top 10, whatever. Let's talk about this, because nobody's gonna agree with me. I promise you that. But bringing us into number 3 is The Incredibles. Easily my favorite animated superhero movie. Easily. It's a whole new take on the superhero genre and a whole new take on the kids genre. It's action-packed. It is super action-heavy. I love it. It has a villain that, ever since I first saw it, has just been one of the standout villains in movie history, just in general. Syndrome. I think he's great. I love what he stands for, and I love the idea of him as a villain. I think it's great for a kids movie. I think it's great for this film. Coming in at number 2 is the one I originally had at number 1, because it's just like that kids movie. It just is. I want it to be number 1. But this is a personal list. So number 2 is The Lion King. I love The Lion King. I love all the songs. I love everything about this movie. It's perfect. It is perfect. It's so good. It really is. It tells a great story that has been copied over and over again over the years. And this is the one that did it right. It did it right the first time. The voice casting in this movie is spot on, with having both James Earl Jones and Jeremy Irons, the only 2 people in the world whose voices rival Morgan Freeman's, are in the same movie together, and they're like 2 of the main characters. The Lion King it's just so perfect. Just everything about this movie is perfect. But my number 1 goes to Finding Nemo. This is not only Pixar's best, I truly believe this to be the best animated film that the world has ever given us. It's about fish. It's a freaking movie about fish. It's about a grown-up fish who loses a kid fish and recruits a retarded fish to help him find him. I love this movie so much. It really pulls on the heartstrings every time I watch it, and I've seen it so many times over the years. The animation holds up to this day. I still believe it's one of the best we've ever gotten. Obviously, things have improved since 2004, 2003, whenever we saw it. But even then, that was 15 years ago. So that's incredible. The animation is so good here. Pixar, it's my favorite animated movie thing that we've ever gotten. I like it more than the Renaissance era, more than the Revival era. I think Pixar is the best, and Nemo is the peak of Pixar for me. Like, there's Toy Story, The Incredibles, and Nemo. Those are like it. I love Nemo. So there you go. That's our picks for our top 10 favorite animated kids movies. So stay tuned. We should be seeing, like she said, The Prodigy, How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Yes, and
maybe the new Lego movie. I don't know.
We'll see. We're gonna kind of wait for that to tone down, because there probably is a lot of kids that are going to go see that. And
yeah, so we'll have reviews of whatever we go see. Thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for commenting. Again, let us know what you think. Comment your top 10 or top 3 or top 5 or top 50, whatever you want.
Or if you didn't like the movies that are on our list, which
Maybe
ones?
we'll do a top 10 worst kids movies.
Which
Worst.
I'll have like 3 on there, so.
I can think of 10 bad kids movies.
Yeah, that one that we saw the other day.
The Emoji Movie.
I never saw that one.
Good. Well, thanks for watching.